Well, here we are back on Friday night 9-ball. Looks like Slim couldn't make it this week. So I'm just going to cover some of the matches. We've got straight knockout now in Friday night 9-ball. I think there was, about 8 in? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in. And we're in a match with Mooncake and Larry, I think it was. And we're just joined it a bit late. It was a bit late starting up the stream. I was hanging off to see if Slim would arrive. Let me test if this chat's working. Seems to be. So we've got Mooncake. Is he Dutch? Yeah, I think he is. And of course, Larry from USA. Give me a wee second. Right, we should be good to go now. So these are straight knockout and races to 9 in all rounds. And at the moment, Larry's got work to do. And Larry, I think, still recovering from that one loss side defeat by Spectre Dawn in the Cribbage World Championship, because Spectre Dawn was awesome in the match. Mooncake 3-0 up. Well, the other thing to point out as well is that Larry himself is getting last 2 here as a handicap. He's going to have to win this one the hard way, as and when he gets a chance. Now, the only danger or the only problem for Mooncake is he really has to stay inside on this 7-ball. When he pots the 6, and depending the angle he has in the 6, he really wants to stay inside on the 7-ball because he doesn't want to be interfering with the 9 or he won't get to the 8-ball. So it's important that he leaves it inside. If he goes anywhere out here, he's got a problem. You see, he's not inside, but he's actually dead straight. So he should be able to just draw back, but he doesn't want to overcook this. Yeah, he played the stun draw. And now he's going to have to go up and back down to go onto that 9-ball. Unless he drags us in dead weight. Well, see, that's the thing. When you start trying to be cute, you're leaving yourself open to problems. Now Larry just has to pot the 8-ball to get off the mark. And I think that was a mistake there, that Mooncake should have played the sensible shot and just went up and down. He was always guaranteed he was going to have a shot in the 9-ball, but trying to play the cutesy, touchy shot in that cut in the 8-ball just to hold it dead weight is how he ended up losing the rack. And he's let Larry in with a free gift there. And Larry's had the 2-ball in the break. Got a shot in the 1 now. He's going to have to get a hold of the cue ball here as well to stay below that 4. And in doing that, or in trying to do that, he hasn't actually managed the first part of the job there, and that was pot the 1 ball. But he's got a lucky roll. Now, Mooncake has a line to hit the 1 ball, and he wants to get it away from that 9 ball as far as he probably can. Well, he's got the hit, got a rail. That 1 ball is just beyond the halfway line. It would thin cut in, but you're going to be colliding straight into that 8 ball, and you might be hooked in a 3. So he's got to hit this. Well, that's worked out perfect the way that's happened. He's come bumping off the 8, drawn onto the 4, bumped it out of the way, and he's on the 3. That's one way of getting there. His luck's not so good this time, but he shouldn't have any problem jumping over the 7. But he might not have necessarily all that easy a 6. Well, he's actually finished as good as he's ever going to be in that, and he'll just come back a couple of inches for that 7 ball. And a little stun in and bring the cue ball back out onto that 8. So that mistake from Mooncake and the way he played that 8 ball has now cost him 2 racks. And had Mooncake taken my advice and done the sensible shot, it could possibly be 5-0 now to Mooncake, and that's the difference between making the sensible shot and then making the wrong choice of shot. And Larry, unfortunately for him though, has come up dry in rack number 5. And of course, there's nothing worse than when you come up dry that you leave everything on. And Mooncake has an opportunity here to redeem himself. And he's going to have to manipulate the cue ball here. And he's got to be careful, because if he's going around the corner, you see again, his mind is so much focused on the cue ball, he's forgetting about the object ball. And once again, the mistake is made and let Larry back in. Now, another thing to point out here is Mooncake's one of these players who, unless he's on very late at night when I'm in bed, he's not a player that plays an awful lot online. He shows up from time to time in some of the big events that we do, but he's not one of these players who hangs around in the lobby, in and out of challenge rooms and all that sort of stuff. So he's very much like myself, where there's no table time at all. And, you know, I only get to play like once a week now if we do 9-ball Scottish doubles, because there's no cowboy in the mornings anymore. Nobody's up playing it. Larry's left it tough here. And the cue ball's going to be good. That was well played. So now, with the line he's got here, it's just all the way around the corner. 2-3 rails. Oh, Larry's, again, with the spin in the cue ball there, he hasn't made the adjustment for the throw in that, and that's a poor miss there by Larry. I mean, there was nothing technically difficult about it for a player of his caliber, and that is really a poor mistake. And he can thank his lucky stars that he's going to be able to maybe redeem himself again. So this again is just a cut in and cue ball back over to the left side. You're going to be a fair distance from the 8, but at least you've got a wide open shot. And this is just, you know, roll the 8 in, go to the short rail, back out and pot this 9 in the bottom right-hand corner. You don't want to do much else other than that. Well, he's coming down to take it in the side, but he's left himself short. Oh, no, tell a lie. My bad. I keep forgetting about the handicap. He only needed one of the last 2 balls. And suddenly now it's 3 apiece. Well, I think that's 2 breaks in a row that Larry has come up dry. And in the last rack, Mooncake had first go. And, again, made an unforced error. Well, that little bump in the 8 ball there has just killed the pace in the cue ball, left him with a half-decent shot in the 2 down into the corner. But the angle is the cue ball. He needs to make sure this cue ball gets out into the open. And that's a nice little nudge in the 4. He might have to go forward and check this cue ball here. Unless he's trying to draw it back to play it in the corner. He's just gone awkward. And it's awkward now because the cue ball wants to come this way, and at best he's going to have a 5-9 combo. He shouldn't really be trying to do anything really cutesy here. Well, he did do it, and I don't know that that's any better for him than probably leaving the 5-9 combo, even though there was a distance between the 2 of them. But he's got a thin cut into the corner past the 9. And that's well played. Very well played. He could have made his life a bit easier if he had maybe took on the combo there. The combo was tough, but fair play to him. Dodgy cutting that 5 ball. And the rack's there for the taking now to regain the lead here. Remember that Mooncake needs all the balls. Larry just needs up to any of the last 2, whatever they might be. Obviously, the 9 ball would be one of them. Whatever other ball that Larry pots of those last 2, that allows him to win the rack with that handicap. So Mooncake back into the lead. And that is dry as well. Let's have a quick look and see how things are going here. We've got top of the draw there. We've got Bankster, who's raced away to a 6-1 lead over Soft Break. We've seen the Larry Mooncake score. Stefan is 4-3 up against Herbie. And the bottom of the bracket, we've got Romario, who's getting the 7 ball. He's 4 racks to 3 behind against Spectre Don, who for the most part dominates Friday night 9 ball week after week. So Mooncake ducking and diving. I think the 5 came to the rescue. Yes, it has. Now, this is a touchy little shot here. Yeah, he's played that to bring the 9 off the short rail and up rather than trying to play it stone dead weight, because it's a tricky shot to judge the pace at that distance. So Larry kicking again. Well, once again, Mooncake can use the other side of the 3 and 4 here for cover if he's trying to send a one ball around the table, but he's going for the cut. And he hasn't judged that very well. But again, he's going to get the second prize. Now, this is a very short jump. And the danger here is the cue ball bouncing over the top of the one. But Larry's got it in, but no joy with the cue ball. Now, this is certainly too tight for a jump, I think. So again, kick and hope. And cue ball's gone south. So Mooncake, who has regained the lead, has a chance to open this gap now with ball in hand. A quick reminder also that we have the one loss side match has been set up on the 2026 Cribbage World Championship. We have a match scheduled on Monday evening, British Summer Time, 8 p.m, 2000 hours. And that is between Spectre Dawn, who, as I said earlier, won against Larry the other night there quite convincingly. He's now up against Silent but Deadly, and what I would say is that if Silent but Deadly makes any amount of errors, he might find himself in deep trouble very quickly, especially if Spectre Dawn breaks as good as he did sort of mid-match onwards against Larry the other night. He was sort of devastating. So Silent but Deadly is going to find it tough. But then again, you've got to think, is Spectre Dawn going to maybe break as good on Monday night? Well, you can find that out. I'll be live streaming that one. That was touch and go, that was going to hold enough line there to get into that corner pocket, but he got there. So now Larry's not almost back to square one yet, but he's back to trailing by 2. He was trailing by 3-0 down at the start. And this is a break and a half here for Mooncake. He's got a cut in the 2. Cue ball's going to go across 2 rails here, and he should widen the gap again. They're all wide open. That's the thing about 9-ball. Once you get the break going, if the break's working for you, the way these have spread, you know, that initial pot in the 2 was probably the most difficult shot he's going to have in a rack. Well, he's sort of gone in between here on this 7-ball. Again, it should be the cut into the side and then just off the short rail up top and back down table. Got to get there. Got to get there. He's left. I mean, he could cut him right down to the bottom rail here. He would have a fairly easy 8-ball. He's now left it dodgy again. Well, the 9-ball isn't frozen to the rail, so again, should not be any trouble in just nicking this down the rail. Well, now Larry is back to square one. He's now back to trailing by 3. Of course, nothing he can do unless he gets to the table. And once again, 3-ball, 7-ball has gone in. And of course, would you believe it, Mooncake's sitting plumb in the 1-ball. 2-ball right in the middle of the table. And this is where you just have to sit and suffer. suspect a few of these other match results will be coming in quicker than this one, because they were quite, you know, you had Bankster 6-1 up, so he'd been racing in the racks in his match. I'll be surprised if this is the first result that comes through. Now, again, you can dink this in, drag the pace off the cue ball, hold the 8 into the side, or go up table. Well, he's going up table this time. I think he's learned his lesson from earlier on in the match, trying to be cute. And he done the sensible shot there. And so Larry now has not got many racks to play with here. But, you know, he can't do anything if he ain't at the table. Well, this one is looking dry. But has Larry got a start? Well, it's a cut up the rail. I mean, it's far too thin, I think, to try and drop into the side. I'm assuming he's going up table. And it went to the rail too soon. And Mooncake, as long as he avoids blocking himself with traffic here, he's trying to get through the gap. And he's left himself fairly straight in the two. Now, if he goes forward, he can possibly come through. If he maybe needs to check the cue ball a bit just to come down here. And he's pretty much got there. It's there's plenty of room for that 3 ball. He could be taking this up into the corner just to try and hold the cue ball for the 6. Well, this is now a bit trickier because that 6 ball is frozen to the rail, I think. Yeah. And that's why those things happen. Larry gets a chink of daylight here. But Larry's got to get him, he's got to hit the ground running if he puts this rack away, which he should do. Oh, he's got to watch that 9 ball. So just the 7 and the 8 ball will give him another rack to his collection. But as, like I said, he needs to get this break going immediately if he's going to get back in this. Well, is that 8 ball going to get there? No, tell a lie, it's the 4 ball. 4 ball has gone in. And he has a cut in the one into the side. So once again, wide open rack. It's all about the cue ball for Larry. Now you see, again, this is partially because he had a trackball mouse, but I think he could have played that and dragged the cue ball and spun it that way rather than coming out into the middle of the table that way. So he's now made his life more difficult. Well, he's got a nice roll of the ball there, but again, I keep going on about this trackball mouse that Larry uses. There are certain shots that you are not comfortable to play in this game with a trackball mouse. That's one of them, the shot that Larry could have played there, but he left it more difficult. And this is not a gimme either. He can't send this to the rail too soon. I mean, he's a good gap there. He needs to get up the table high enough. The one thing you don't want to do is underhit this. You can come right up the table here for this 8-ball. And that's the way to do it. Because he only needs the 8-ball. So this is just a roll in. So that's 2 in a row for Larry. It needs to keep going though. A couple of balls will get in. Oh, he's going to go square in the 1-ball though. Well, I think he's going to try the little billiard onto the 4 and end up playing this 1-ball down the rail. And that's worked out nice. Now, it has to go higher. Now, even if he rolls right up and onto the 8-ball, he's going to have the 3-ball into the side. So he needs to get there. He needs to come right down the table here. The 1-ball's the least of his problems, but this cue ball has to get right down to the 8-ball. And that'll do nicely. He could, again, he could even, if he underhits that, he leaves it there, he's in no man's land. He could come right down to the 8, and that's what he did. So, well, unless something silly happens here for Larry, it's now going to be 3 in a row. So once again, he just has to roll the 7 in, drop down. It might be a bit straight, this 7-ball. Well, he's actually got an angle, so he's not heading to the pocket. So this is what Larry needed. This is exactly the medicine he needed. Now, Bankster has won that first match. He had a 6-1 lead when we checked against Soft Break, but he's now completed the win by 9 racks to 4. And I think that might be the... maybe I've read that bracket wrong. Let me have a look. Aye, that is who is lying in wait for the winner of this match. Now, what's happening in the other ones? Well, it's 6 apiece with Stefan and Herbie. And, well, it looks like Spectre Dawn is almost over the line. I think he's got an 8-5 lead against Romario. And meanwhile, Larry is still off and running. Now, what's he got here? Again, this is 4-ball into the side, off the short rail, back down the table, as far as he wants to go. So, I mean, this is a simple shot. As far as he wants to go with the cue ball, he drops the 5 in, kills the cue ball on the 6, stone dead, rolls the 7 in, and goes through for the 8 down the rail. I mean, this is simple stuff. So this is just a kill shot. I mean, he might go forward onto the rail and back up, but you can just draw it back, stun it like that, and this is straight onto the rail with the cue ball. All simple stuff. And of course, he just needs this 8-ball. So again, he's just got to be careful he doesn't interfere with that side pocket jaw. And now we have a game on. 7 apiece. So that's now 4 in a row for Larry. Now, did anything go that time on the break? I think maybe one ball looks as if it's missing. The 7-ball's gone. And there's that result come through. Spectre Dawn has now beaten Romario by 9 racks to 5. Well, this is a difficult shot. The pot's not difficult. The problem's the 5 ball and the fact the cue ball wants to get way up the table and the 2 balls down at this end. So, well, he didn't try and do much else with the cue ball there. Now he's either got to come up with a half-decent safety or he's going to try and blast this and thin cut it, this 2 ball. This is really difficult. Whatever he's going to try. Oh, he's got the cut. That's a great shot, but he's not going to be sitting all that good in the 3. Again, he's got a dodgy cut. Four ball up table, so he just needs to keep the cue ball in the table. He's bound to have some shot in the 4. Oh, yeah, and again, the difficulty was the cut in the 3, and he's hung it over the pocket, and that's going to allow Mooncake back into this. And it looks like, I say it looks like the end of Larry's run of 4 racks. Now, see, these are, again, just a bit tricky because he's dead straight, so he's got to judge this. And again, he's stunned it just enough. So this is just a plain and simple roll in the 5. And how much is that going to cost Larry? Well, straight off the rail and out looks like the order of the day, unless he's got the angle where he can just drop through. Yes, he has got the angle. So Mooncake regains the lead. And more importantly for him, he's breaking on the hill. Has Larry played his last shot? Well, I mean, the rack is broken, but nothing has gone near a pocket. And Larry's not exactly got a... Oh, I thought that was a 1 ball next to the cue ball. It isn't. That's a 9 ball. 1 ball's down table here, so he's wide open. If he gets this 1 ball and a shot, no, where the hell is he going with the cue ball here? Oh, I don't know what the hell he was trying there with that cue ball. He's got into it far too much. And from a situation where everything's wide open and he looked as if it was going to be home and dry, he's now got a really testy cut way up table behind that 4 into the corner pocket. Well, he's made the cut. I'll tell you something, Larry doesn't like to do things simple. I mean, he's making it damned hard for himself, but he's got himself plumb perfect in the 3. And this, well, just a natural shot down onto the 5. Where's the cue ball going? He's overdone it again. Would you believe it? And he's scratched. I mean, he's hit that like a sledgehammer. I mean, that is really, really poor. Overhit it by 2 feet. And he's going to pay the price because, well, the one problem, well, he might not pay the price here. This is tricky. He's got to get this cue ball up past that 9 to go on the 7, or at least have a sight of the 7 ball. And that's the tricky part of it, because that 6 ball was no gimme, and he had to manoeuvre the cue ball to get there. Now, fair enough to him, he got there, and Larry's been let off the hook here big time. I think Larry was ready to go home there. And again, well, Larry trying to play the stun draw, but he's hung the 6, and that definitely, I say definitely this time, you never know what's going to happen here, but this 6 ball's fairly well into the pocket. Well, I think the cue ball's going to be okay. And well, I say it's okay, but look at the angle he's got in the 7. He's absolutely bolt straight. He may well have to take his medicine here, get the cue ball out and play the bank in this 8 ball than try and do anything crazy. Well, he's trying to pinch off the rail there. And again, there's times where you've just got to take your medicine and roll that 7 in, get the cue ball out to you about there near the 9 ball and play the bank. Now, again, fair play to him. He got the cue ball down there, but trying to... Oh, where's Larry going this time? Would you believe it? Unbelievable. I mean, Larry just wants out of this. It's incredible, the stupid things that happen. And what's Mooncake doing? Well, he's trying to scratch the side pocket. It ain't going to happen, but he might have hooked himself, has he? No, he hasn't. Well, Larry, you can't say you didn't have your chances there to keep the match alive, but Mooncake falls over the line, sort of head first, and wins by 9 racks to 7. So now that is, I think, all the first round matches complete. We've now got, well, I think it was. Well, maybe not. We've got Stefan and Herbie. They're still playing at 7 apiece in that match. We've got this match about to start with Mooncake and Bankster. Spectre Dawn is waiting on the winner of this match. So we'll go in and see the end of this with Stefan and Herbie. And Stefan is given 7 and out to Herbie. Where's this cue ball going? So Herbie's getting a healthy handicap. But he's got to pot this 5 and get round and have a shot on this 7. And if he can do that, he'll be on the hill. And this is just a little dink in and let the cue ball go. 3 rails here. You don't need to hammer it, because the angle is there. And he hasn't. He's trying to do crazy stuff, dragging the pace off. But I mean, just a cut, bounce, and up there in the cut in the 7. But he's got a shot, but it could have been a bit easier than this. And he's got it in. Fair play. And now breaking for the match. Oh, good evening, Slim. Yeah, I have already got that set in my schedule, that match. And I didn't plan on doing anything here, but I waited and waited till the top of the hour to see whether you were going to show, and I thought I might as well just do it. It won't take all that long. But I won't be making this regular, because I'm already going downhill very fast. It's what, 8:45 now. So Spectre Dawn is waiting on the winner of this match. We've got the other second round matches have started. We'll join one of them in a minute as soon as this is finished. Now what's Herbie got here? Well, the fact is he's playing in Simply Hooked. But if I was him, I'd be giving this an almighty smack off that rail, because you just never know what's going to happen. And I don't know what the hell he's doing, but he's taking an awful long time to do something daft like that. And they could end up being on a 3 foul here. He should have just give them a big smack. You see, now he's got an edge of the 4. He should just give this an almighty belt. If he's trying to be cute, he's going to end up probably getting 3 foul, but I'd be just hammering this like hell if I'm getting 7 and out. Well, that's not going to do him any favours. It's a tricky cut into the side, and the cue ball's got to manoeuvre here to go on the 5, but Herbie's trying to play it in a sort of sensible manner, whereas I think somebody in his position and his rating, they should just give it a smack. And this is not easy for Stefan. But this is a crucial shot in this rack, because if he can drop this 5 ball in, he's on the 6, no problem. Yeah, it was never easy. Well, this is a tricky little dink, but you can get that cue ball behind the 6 here. Very touchy little shot. This is the type of shot that's difficult to play with a trackball mouse. You see Herbie's problem there is he's far too heavy. It's touchy. You've got to really judge the pace of that. And if you've got your mouse dialed in, those shots aren't as scary as they might look, trying to play little touchy shots like that. But it's given Stefan a chance to take this match all the way. Now, the problem is, he's the other side of the 7. Now, this is still workable because you can pot the 7 and, well, he's chosen just to go down below the 8, and that'll work as well as long as it doesn't go too far. Well, this is still tricky. And of course, you've got to always think about the cue ball here. You can't just pot the 8. You've got to have a shot in the 9. And you see, that's what happens. He's now in no man's land again. And he's got to watch the side pocket if he's going into that pocket. This cue ball wants to head near the side pocket. He's going the other way. In fact, side pockets may be in play both sides here. He's going into the top right as we look. And he's digging down to hold the cue ball, but I mean, that was, that never even threatened a pocket. How's his luck? Is he going to finish on top of the cue ball? Well, no, it's a gift for Herbie. And he goes through. Well, he's going to be getting a heck of a handicap against Spectre Dawn. He'll be probably getting 5 and out. And that still won't be enough against Spectre Dawn, because Spectre Dawn will be too good, I would imagine. So that is all the matches now complete, at least once it refreshes and updates. And we have the Bankster match with Mooncake underway. Bankster, I think that says he's getting the 8 ball. I'll double check that. He's won the first rack. Bankster, the most dangerous player in Friday Night 9 ball with a handicap. So we'll nip in and watch that. And Bankster already is going 2 up. He's getting the 8 ball. And I think Bankster represents Q8, if I'm right in thinking. Yes, he does. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, Mooncake is from the Netherlands. And loads of spin on the cue ball. He's actually maybe overspun it a little to help that cue ball get around the angles. Still got the pot. And again, it's just leaking away a bit, this cue ball. Did you watch that match, Slim? I mean, I've been thinking since I watched that match as to how many errors Spectre Dawn made. If you look at it, the first 2 racks were blow for blow. Whoever got in, they ran out. They got their cribbages and they got out. And as soon as Spectre Dawn won that 5th rack and got the break going, the break was going wide open. I mean, there was one occasion there where he had 3 balls in the break and he had to get the 3 cribbages, and then he had to get a couple of banks to keep the run going. And I mean, he just did not make a mistake. He was devastating. And, you know, if he's anything like that level against SBD on Monday night, he'll bury him. But the question is whether Spectre Dawn is going to get as good a breaks as he got against Larry. I mean, the problem for Larry in that match was that because Larry didn't have an awful lot of table time and a lot of shots, whatever shots he did make, the errors when he made them stood out like a sore thumb. You know, he made 2 or 3. Well, he made, certainly, as far as I'm concerned, a couple of wrong shot choices, and they just amplified his position. Larry had to be flawless to stay with Spectre Dawn, and unfortunately for Larry nowadays, Larry's not flawless, and that's why it's so difficult to not only stay with Spectre Dawn but beat him, because he plays at a very high level. But if he plays anywhere like that for the rest of that tournament, he's got a very, very good chance. And, well, Bankster 4-0 up here. And I think, like Mooncake, as I mentioned earlier in the stream, I don't think Bankster really is, again, I'm not around all the time, but I don't think Bankster's one of these players that hangs around and goes into challenge rooms. He generally just shows up for Friday night 9-ball and some of the big events. I don't see him as a player who hangs around VP4, so he doesn't get a lot of table time. But I'll tell you something, when he gets a handicap, he ain't no mug. And, well, Mooncake's now got the shoe in the other foot. He's going to have to try and get into this like Larry had against him. He's now 4-0 down and got to simply pot everything that he can see. And he should have a good chance of doing that, because, I mean, the table's sitting good enough. Oh, dear. No sooner than I say that than I've jinxed him, and he's tried to do something and took his eye completely off the pot in the 5-ball for no apparent reason, thinking about the 6-ball, and he's gifted Bankster an opportunity, although Bankster hasn't come out all that good with this. Now, what does he do here? Is he going to try and... Yeah, I thought, well, that's a sensible shot. Definitely a sensible shot. Yeah. Not doing anything stupid. Now, if you have a kick at this round of 2 rails, there's a chance you might combo that 9-ball in. Now, Mooncake's not looking at it, but I think if you give that a go around the 2 rails to come and hit the 6-ball that side, you have a chance you might get lucky. And he'll regret that now, the fact that the 6-9 combo's sitting there. So, I don't think Mooncake thought that through long enough, because the penalty for missing the 6-ball altogether was the fact the 6 and 9 were sitting as a combo. And he walked straight into that trap. I think he should have took my option there and had a go around the 2 rails to kick that 6, because you never know what can happen. And also, that shot I was talking about, the 6-ball's quite a big target, because if you go to the rail a bit too soon, you're always going to hit the 6-ball one way or another. So Mooncake, I think, he could have had a better shot choice than that. The priority was move the 6-ball regardless, and not hitting it at all was just a free gift there for Bankster, and it's now 5-0. Bankster going to have to work with this one. Potting the three is difficult enough, but he's got to hold the cue ball. And again, he's got right into the cue ball there, straight onto the long rail on the right, back across into the middle of the table, and played that very well to get in the four. Excellent shot. Oh, that brushing the 8-ball, he could have done without it, but it's come out good because he's bumped to 5 and everything's fine. He definitely didn't play for the bump in the 8-ball. What's he trying to do here, though? I thought he was trying to hook himself behind the 9. Now, around 2-3 rails to go into the 8. Is he going to try and be really cute? No, he's got to go 2-3 rails around for the 8 from the other side. You know, bump this in, come down and up and over. And just enough spin left on it. So this, for 6-0. Well, Mooncake is definitely back against the wall now. I'll have a quick drink. You begin to wonder whether Mooncake's going to get a shot at the table again here. Well, there's a fair chance he will do, because unless Baxter does something off this 2-ball to bump the 5 and hope he still has a shot in the 3, then he's going to be dead in the water here. And I don't know that he's got the angle either. Let's have a look. Got a very slight angle, but he didn't try and do anything with it. So now, and again, the angle he's got in the 3 could have done with a bit more. He's trying to do something crazy, but he's only going to scratch from it. So that didn't work out well. So now Mooncake has ball in hand, trying to roll the 5 in and roll through, so he's got the cut in the 7. Or unless he's going to jack up and hold the cue ball below the 8. I've got to get up the table high enough here. Can't chicken out in this shot. Yeah, I'm talking away. Oh no, what I was talking about was the chat looked funny on screen there. You notice the sentence that Slim said that looks a bit squared off. It didn't look as if it's coming onto the screen. I've got the chat angled, you notice, and it looks funny on screen up top of the chat there. Welcome to Interchange X. Well, the more chat that goes up, the more that's going to rectify itself, because that's going to disappear off screen. So it will. Anyway, back to the match here. We have Baxter with a 6-1 lead. Let's have a quick look and see how Herbie's getting on against Spectre Dawn. Well, Herbie, I thought would be getting 5 and out. He's getting... What the hell is he getting? He's getting a 6, 7 and 8-ball. I mean, that's still good, but the problem is the 6, 7 and 8-ball won't be in the table when if he does get to the table. I think Spectre Dawn will still be far too good for that. So he's managed to get a rack on the board anyway. And where's the cue ball going? Well, Mooncake can do with less of that because he's again gifted. Bankster, ball in hand, 2 ball wide open, 3 ball over the side pocket. So the difficult shot here, and probably the most difficult shot in this rack, is how he gets down onto the 4 ball. Now he's got loads of room left side of the table. So he's just got to get out and get the angle in the 3, put the 3 in, off the rail, down the left side far enough. In fact, he might not even need to do that. In fact, I think he can just draw this back across. That's even better the way he's finished. Well, you see, he hasn't went through the shot. You see, that's what happens when you don't have table time. That is a perfect example of it. Because the more you're playing those sort of shots every day in VP4, the more confident you are to just hit that in and play the stun draw where you control the draw. And he never went through with the shot. He sort of choked on it. And, well, Mooncake's got a lifeline. In fact, what am I talking about? It was Bankster that played it, not Mooncake. My bad. Well, there was a wee glitch there. Did you notice that? That wee glitch with the 4 ball. Yeah, it's Snakes, that Herbie guy. He must be sober for once then. Right, well, Bankster's got to get this cue ball out of there because he's wanting to run into the 7 ball here. He's got to get the cue ball out of there. He's avoided the 7, and that is perfect. That's very well played. So, just this ball and a roll in the 8 ball, and it'll be a 7-1 lead. And you would say that would be unassailable in every other context of the game. Why was Snakes banned? He's an asshole. I think that's a general opinion. He makes a nuisance of himself with about goodness knows how many profiles he's got, and I think he's got a bit of a drink problem as well, by the sounds of it. Good evening to Romario. And again, just to point out for those who have joined, I won't be making a habit of this. I just hung off to near the top there to see if Slim was going to arrive or Slim was going to sign up, and decided I'd do it this week. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you're pissed. You forget you're actually playing VP4, and you wander away from the computer. And meanwhile, Bankster, cue balls had a bump off the 5 and gone south. So here's your lifeline, Mooncake. Well, this would be a great match to win when you're 8-1 down. And he's probably going to have to play an 8-9 combo here, Mooncake. I don't think he should try anything more elaborate than that, unless, the problem is that you want to play the 4 ball again. You want to play this 4 ball from inside so that you're potting the 4 and you're running around and coming down for the 5. You don't want to finish short on it, and that'll do nicely. So now he's got to. I think this needs a wee bit of help and spin. A bit of left-hand spin just to help it around the angles and come across short of the 5. As he got the spin, and you see again, this time Mooncake's, just not went through. And if he just went through with the spin, he's not going to run into the 6. He's going to come right over onto the 5. Now he's left himself to sort of 50-yard line, making it difficult for himself. And now he's going to have to try and be cute here with the 6 ball, and he might bump into the 8 here, depending on how he plays this. And you see, there's what happens, and he's going to get lucky here. He's going to get a lucky roll. But the last 3 shots have just been out of shape, out of line, and with lack of table time, you don't control the shots as good. And now he's up shit creek here without a paddle virtually, because this could have been a lot easier than this. It would have been a lot easier actually playing the combo than doing this. Again, it needs to have the legs, and I think it's just got the legs. So that, shall we just decide that that was unorthodox? I think that's the best way of describing it. But you know, he needs another 7 of them. He needs another 7 of them racks to actually get out of this hole. And something has gone in. Let's have a quick tab and see what's going on. Well, Spectre Dawn's already got good daylight. He's now got a 5-2 lead. You know, Herbie will maybe get the odd rack where he gets a bumper, a combo and one of his money balls, but I think that's probably about it. That's how it should play out. I don't think Spectre Dawn's going to do that many daft things that's going to let Herbie back into it. And Bankster, well, this is the match-winning visit as long as he gets high enough above this 6 ball to play that 3. And I don't know what the hell he did there, because he's completely missed the 2 ball. I don't know what he was trying to do with the cue ball that in such a way he ended up missing the 2 ball so badly. And this is touchy. Now, you could do loads of right English and thump this in and come around to the short side. And he's trying to get there. Watch the 8 ball, though. Watch the 8 ball. Oh, dear. And that is really unlucky. That is really unfortunate. But it has to be said, the 8 ball was always going to be in play going in the short side. And I think Mooncake, we have just seen his last shot in this tournament tonight. Because I don't think Bankster is going to give him another go at the table. There was nothing conventional about that run out that he had. It was all bad, but it turned out good. That's probably the best way to describe it. And well, Bankster just has to get below the 8 ball to play up the table, or if he finishes a wee bit further out, play it into the side pocket. And now he's sort of in between both, so either or, but it looks as if it's into the side for the match. And a comfortable win for Bankster by 9 racks to 2. And so we now have our first finalist in this week's Friday Night 9 ball, and that is Bankster, who will be getting a good enough handicap, and he's a good enough player to give Spectre Dawn problems. But the problem anybody has against Spectre Dawn is that Spectre Dawn hogs the table, and you're not going to get a great deal of opportunities. And when you do get them, you can't throw them away, as Larry proved the other night there against Spectre in that cribbage match. He got few chances, but the chances he got, he made still too many mistakes and got blitzed. So we'll nip in, and we're about to see Spectre Dawn go into a 6-2 lead. And again, a quick reminder also, we've got the 9-ball World Championships in VP4 coming up. June the 17th. Loads of seats still available. We won't get 64 in. Gone are the days where we used to get 64 in events. I mean, I will say this, we got 64 in them when I run the the 9-ball World Championships. I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but all I'm saying is that when I run it and we had races to 43 in the final, we get full houses. signing up then. I must have been doing something right back in the day, but it doesn't happen in VP4. Well, Herbie does the what we call the cock hat double in snooker, around the 3 angles into the side, well, the 2 angles into the side pocket. So just this 6 ball, I'll give him his, well, really his 3rd consolation rack. Well, cue ball's gone south. Ball in hand for Spectre Dawn. 1 ball. Is he playing the 3 fouls here? Is he playing the one into the corner? I think Spectre Dawn generally wants to just try and run out. He's just trying to, pot the 1, bump the 6, maybe, and stay inside for the 3, for the 2. Yeah, a bit like that. So now the question is whether he's going to be coming back far enough for this 3 ball. The problem is if he doesn't get it right, he can hook himself behind the 6 or 7. He's decided he's going to leave it short. So now the problem is avoid the traffic and get back up for that 4 ball. And he's played that with big check on it to stop the cue ball opening out that way where he could have ran into traffic. And that is very well played. Big check in the cue ball. As soon as it hit that rail there, it prevented it going that way and killed it to go that way up table. And that was really the major shot in that rack there, is how he was going to play the 3 ball. And he's done everything right. I mean, he is clinical, Spectre Dawn, and it still amazes me that he's never won one of these Virtual World Championships. It's the best chance he'll ever have in winning one of them. It's 9 ball, his favourite game, the one he plays week in, week out. Loads of table time he gets. Well, against somebody like Bankster, he's as I've titled him for a while as the most dangerous player with a handicap in Friday Night 9 ball, because he ain't a mug, and he generally doesn't do an awful lot of daft stuff. So if he gets a sniff, he's more than good enough to take advantage of that handicap. And when he's at the table potting balls as you are against anybody, if you don't have that the opportunities, there's not much you can do. I mean, everything like that is amplified tenfold against Spectre Dawn, because he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And just when you think he's got himself out of shape and he's on a really tough shot, he doesn't blink. He just pots them. So you're really up against this guy. But like I said, he's still trying to win his maiden Virtual World title. Well, again, judged the 2 rails there, perfect for the 5 ball. And should be on the hill, breaking for the match. Well, looking at the clock, it's just gone 9:15. So, I mean, this final coming up should still allow me to get to bed in what I would describe as a reasonable time. It's still later than it should be for me nowadays, but anyway. Yeah, but you can see where your problem is, Mooncake. Your problem is 2 or 3 shots that you were playing where, again, and this is just the fact that you don't get a lot of table time in VP4. There was 1 or 2 shots where you didn't judge them as well as you probably could have, simply because you know it's like a muscle memory thing when you're shooting with a mouse. Certain shots you know under hit them, over hit them, or and you'll only do that because you're simply not playing enough. And that might be Herbie's last mistake there. He's hung the 1 ball. And Spectre Dawn with a wide open table. And the most difficult shot Spectre Dawn's going to play here is a 2 to the 3, because I think he's maybe got himself a bit straight in this 2. There's a slight angle. And the problem is he has to be this side to play the 3. So he's taking his medicine and he's going to leave himself the thin cut. I mean, I only play, and I don't get to play cowboy in the morning. You see, there you go. He has been caught out this time, and he's going to get lucky. I only play virtual pool on a Monday night now, because when I get up on my days off on Wednesday and Thursday morning early, there's nobody playing cowboy anymore since Casino Jim passed away. We don't have any cowboys, so I used to look forward to that, but that doesn't happen anymore. So I only play once a week. And even then, it's 1 match in 9-ball Scottish double, or perhaps 2, but not a lot more. So I get very little table time. But that still doesn't stop me being a tactical genius. Everybody knows that. So a little combo with a 4-6. That's just finished a wee bit straight, but he can help this out with a wee bit of spin if he thinks he needs it. And he's put the spin on it. I think Stubb withdrew from the 9-ball World Championships, which, if people who don't know, as far as I'm aware, and I might be wrong on this matter, as far as I'm aware, Stubb was in the lobby on Sunday when I got home, and Cobra was in the lobby as well. And I think Stubb wanted to arrange his match for the Sunday that just gone by. And that didn't happen. And of course, we got to the deadline date yesterday at 11 p.m. Or was it yesterday or was it the day before? I'm losing track of time. Anyway, it ended up that Stubb got advanced through to the hot seat match with Albinario. And we thought that was it. So Spectre Dawn goes through 9 racks to 3, and then when Steve sees the outcome, Steve has decided that Cobra was to get advanced. So Stubb got forfeited to the 1-loss side, and Stubb was not happy. And unless Steve explains differently as to why he decided Stubb should get forfeited, then, as I said, going back to what I saw on Sunday, and what the fact that Cobra never played the match on Sunday, we need to know what transactions were going back and forward as far as proposals, because Steve can check all of that, and maybe he has checked all of that and decided that Stubb was messing Cobra around again. I don't know. I'm only going by what I saw on Sunday. Right, meanwhile, we are now through to tonight's Friday night 9-ball final. It is Spectre, Dawn and Bankster, but just on the note of the 9-ball World Championships, we'll have a quick look at the bracket, not the bracket, the sign-ups before we join the match. just to see where we are. 64 seats available. There are still 43, and I'm pretty certain that Stubb withdrew, which he has done. German Pot Machine was threatened to withdraw as well because he wasn't happy when he found out Stubb and he started moaning in the lobby. But we've still got most of the usual people have signed up there. There's one or two who might be in there making up the numbers, but there's still plenty of room and also plenty of time. Another, 10, 11 days yet to get into this World Championship. So let's get into the room. Bankster representing Kuwait, Spectre Dawn representing the UK. If I could get into the room, that is. What the hell's happening here? Oh, we're in at last. They must have been lagging. That must have been why it took me so long. Well, there you go. Bankster's getting the 6 ball, and he can certainly make the most of that if, and I say if, he gets opportunities. Like right now, he's got a problem with the 3 ball, which might be a 3-7 combo, and it isn't anywhere near set. So he just needs to get round about there with the cue ball. Now he's trying to bump these and break these open. He's got loads of left English in this. Well, that came out very good because he can just roll through as far as he dare on this 4 ball. Problem is he's going to have to play the combo with the 4 and 8 as well. Well, he's looking at the thin cut into the side there for a second. Is he worried about the side pocket? Maybe he is. But I think the problem is he's got to get the pace right, and I think he's judged the pace very well. That was very well played. Nice weight of shot, and Stubbs in moaning in the room. But this is what Bankster has to do. He has to find his way to that money ball. Because in a table like this, in 9 ball, if you don't get there, you're gifting it to Spectre Dawn. Watch the side pocket, and there's a disaster. And that's what you don't want to do. And there's the chance come and gone now. What you've then got to think is how many racks is that going to cost him? Because he had a rack in the palm of his hand, get the cue ball down in the 6, and you're home and dry. And I think Spectre Dawn has fallen asleep because I don't know what the hell's happening here. I don't see any life in the queue. Well, this is just going to be leave the thin cut in the 8 ball. I don't think Spectre Dawn will do anything elaborate here to get right up on top of the 8 because it's so easy to find a pocket doing something daft, and he's done the sensible thing. Yeah, let's see how many racks that's going to cost Bankster with that scratch. So he should be sitting 1-0 up. As it is, he's going to be 1-0 down, and goodness knows how many if Spectre Dawn gets this break working. I'll have another quick drink. Now, did I hear anything go that time? No, I didn't. It was dry. Well, I say that is the only information that Steve has to go by in looking at the communication back and forth between the two of them. Oh, cue ball. Well, Baxter's definitely trying to make it difficult for himself. And now he's got to get cute here. Try and stick Spectre Dawn behind either the 4 or the 7. And he's not gone far enough onto that 7 ball. Now, Spectre Dawn can play the jump onto the rail, but he won't have enough pace in it to get a great deal of distance between the cue ball and the 2. If he does that, I don't think. Well, he certainly hasn't left it easy. Well, Stubbs his own worst enemy for the most part. I mean, you think of the way he's messed about Cobra in the one of the 9-ball World Championships and got because he was, messing up and not arranging times and ends up getting booted out because of it. I mean, he is his own worst enemy, so he can't expect he's going to get any favours done from if things like that keep happening. So I don't have a great deal of sympathy for him. The only question I would ask is what was the problem on Sunday? Maybe Cobra was going out at a certain time and you're not knowing how long the match was going to take. It might have took a couple of hours, and maybe that's why he didn't agree to play on the Sunday when he was actually in the lobby, when Stubb was in the lobby. That's the only sort of grey area that I'm not sure about. Well, Baxter can certainly see the edge of the 3, but can he keep this safe? Well, I think that's fairly safe. Yes, he's left an edge of the 3. Now, if Spectre Dawn can try and use these, but I thought he might have tried to hit that a wee bit harder to get the 3 ball over that side and use that line of balls, but it's worked out. He's used the 4. It's an easy kick in the 3, though. So now, Spectre Dawn can duck and dive or play the combo. Going for the combo, hoping to get a better roll in the 3. He hasn't really. Yes, it's a thin cut and it will cut, but it is far from easy. Now, he's got the cut. How's the roll with the cue ball? Well, let's just say not too bad. I mean, okay, he's the wrong side of the 4. He wants to run up and down onto the 6. But in fact, he's managed to hold it. I thought I didn't think he'd have enough angle there to hold that, but he has done. Well, this is going to be a bit tricky. Is he going to come back across and play the combo in 8 and 9? I mean, you can start doing silly stuff and trying to get over on the short side of the 8, but the simple shot is just to take your medicine, come across and play the combo. I don't see the difficulty there. I mean, this combo's fairly unmissable. And he should be 2-0 in front. So Baxter's got his work cut out. But that's always the problem, you're getting six ball as your money ball, but can you get to the 6 ball? And don't forget that Baxter had that opportunity in the first rack and failed. And so far it's cost him 2 racks. And their Stubb gets booted again. I mean, there's at least 2 of his profiles have been booted for 72 hours. That's another one that's gone. And meanwhile, Spectre Dawn has missed a pot. Well, there's a rarity. And again, Baxter has to pounce on this, and he has to get out. No ifs or buts. He has to get out. If he can't get out here, then his prospects are not going to be that good for the rest of this match. And remember, he's getting the 6 ball, so the 4 ball, fairly straightish pot. He's got to get an angle in this 5. He's gone a wee bit shallow, but he's got enough angle, so he's just got to get over far enough. He can certainly spin this over so he can see the 6. And now you want to get off the rail a wee bit as well if you can do it. Just a straightforward roll in. And so that mistake from Baxter, from Spectre Dawn, which it's a rare pot he's missed. It's given Baxter his early lifeline here just to stay in touch. But I didn't hear anything drop there. Where's the cue ball ending up? Well, if you're going to break dry, you want to end up leaving the cue ball like that. If you're breaking dry, you don't want to be leaving a shot in the 1 ball for Spectre Dawn because, again, this is a table where he would run out without a problem. Baxter, well, I mean, Spectre, I mean, you know what Steve would be saying right now if he was in this, because that is a pretty poor push out from Spectre Dawn. I mean, he just pushed out to a long shot for Baxter. Baxter's not going to turn that down. But can he get up to the 3? Can he get that cue ball up to the 3? Oh, that needed to bump the 6 to take the pace off it. Well, he's bumped out far enough. He's got a thin cut in the 3. And he should have a shot in the 4, unless he rolls up behind a ball here, but he's hung up the 3 though, and there goes his chance. Can Spectre Dawn get to it? Oh, hang on a minute. Could he squeeze round the back of that 8 ball and just catch any of that 3? That's deep in the pocket. He'll go round the angles, I think. He'll go round the angles. He's going to have to try and kick bank this and squeeze into that. He's going to hit the 8. Yeah, that was really, really tough. And even if he'd actually got there, he could very simply hit that rail and miss the 3 completely. It's so tight in the pocket. Well, it's not often you get a second chance against Spectre Dawn in a game of 9 ball, but Baxter's got there. Oh, message incoming from Stubb. Booted because I told the truth, he says. Well, we're 2 apiece. Unfortunately, Baxter's come up dry. And this is what I say. If you come up dry, you cannot leave a table like this for Spectre Dawn because the inevitable is going to happen. He's on the 1, has a shot. He could play the thin cut the 2 into the side. 3 balls wide open in the left side as long as you don't hook yourself behind the 7 or the 8. Now, let me have a look. And he's avoided that. Where's it going, though? He's going to be okay, though. Once again, you don't want to get too cute with the little jabby stun shot in this 3. You want to get well away from the 5. And he's made sure of that. Because if you start trying to be cute there, you could easily just stick yourself behind the 5 doing something too soft. Well, this ain't going to be a gimme. The way this cue ball's going, he's overcooked that quite a bit. Now, if he plays the thin cut and just drops it in, because he's stuck to the rail, and if he just lets this roll out, he might bump the 7. He's avoided the 7. Again, he's making it hard work for himself. Now, does he play this with a bit of check? You know, you just don't want this to come off the rail and open up to the 8. Well, as a matter of fact, he's underhit it. You see, that's where you could have played that harder with a bit of left-hand side to check the cue ball and kill it off the rail and come up. But he actually underhit it. He was trying to play it sort of dead weight to get into this area. Well, I don't think Bankster's going to refuse this because Spectre Dawn has just set that up plumb for Bankster. But there wasn't much room past that 8. That was the problem. How's his luck? Well, it could have been worse, but I think Spectre Dawn has got to take this on. And there you go. Spectre Dawn back into the lead, breaking in rack number 6 in this race tonight. Bankster getting the 6 ball as his money ball, and I think that was dry. That 6 ball thought about it. But it is dry, and Bankster doesn't have a shot in the 1 other than a sort of half-hearted combo here, I think, in the 8. But again, that was not very well executed. So the touch wasn't good. And Baxter also another one of these players who doesn't generally hang around in VP4 playing in lobbies all day or challenge rooms, and Spectre Dawn's done the old miscue. So now we're getting crazy. But it's going to be a difficult out here for Baxter because of where the 2's sitting. So I think he should just, again, don't try and get too cute here and just tie up Spectre Dawn like that. You know, the table isn't set to run out, so this is set up for trying to 3-fill the guy. But Spectre Dawn's got the hit. Now, is there any value in potting the 1 ball? That's my question. Because there wasn't an awful lot that you could do. Now, this is a touchy shot. He's trying to get this wafer thin and get a lot of yardage between these 2 balls. And that is not bad. That isn't bad at all. I mean, there's a thin edge in the 2, and I don't know whether the 7 ball's going to interfere with this, whether he can get out of there clean. And no, he couldn't, and that's what's ruined the shot for Spectre Dawn there. In Bankster, with a good safety, is going to get his opportunity, but look at the problem he has ahead of him. I mean, you know, he's got the... Oh, this 8 ball's going to come into play, is it? No, it isn't. He's got the 2, the 3, and the 4 up there, and 5 ball. Problem is, he's got to either come down into this spot, which is something that Spectre Dawn would probably do. That would be an example of the shot he would play. Bankster, whether he's going to get to that opportunity, I don't know. He might have to, again, take his medicine, roll the 5 in and just play the 6-9 combo. I don't think he should get too elaborate here. The way he's sitting with the cue ball, this is a 6-9 combo every day of the week. I mean, that's all you do. Just get right onto the rail. And as long as you play this 6 ball right enough, I don't think there's any way you can miss this 9 ball. I mean, get right onto the rail. You're not going to miss the combo. Even at that distance, you're not missing it. And that was a sensible thing to play. And you can use all the pocket here at the right pace. Oh, no. That wasn't it. He played that all wrong. He actually cut that 6 ball. And as soon as he did that, it cut onto the 9, pushed it off the rail. He can thank his lucky stars he's left this awkward for Spectre Dawn. He could have let it a lot simpler. But there you go. Spectre Dawn deals with the situation. Now he's got a dodgy cut in the 7. Bound to have some sort of shot in the 8 in a minute. And that'll be into that top corner pocket as we look. So now the danger bells, the alarm bells should be ringing here for Baxter even early on, because now Spectre Dawn has that daylight between himself and Baxter. It's going to be a 4-2 lead and breaking, which is a worrying time for Baxter, because if this break starts to work, I think you can wave goodbye to the title tonight, Baxter, or your opportunities and chances will dwindle if that starts happening. Well, a ball has gone in, but there's no shot in the 1. 2 ball has gone. He's hooked in the 1. Now, maybe he can play a better push out, because that last push out he played was pretty poor. And, well, is Baxter going to try the bank? He's overdone it, gone to the knuckle. And again, he's got away with it. And you need those rolls of the ball as well to help you survive in these situations. That's a good little safety there from Spectre Dawn. Yes, you can jump over the 6 ball. Yes, if you get crazy enough, you can actually cut that 1 ball. He had a go at it, got it too thick. But this time, though, Baxter hasn't got a roll, and it's sayonara to this rack. It's now going to be a 3-rack lead, provided that Spectre Dawn can deal with the 3-ball situation. And again, right on the money, onto that 3 ball into the side pocket. And that's another thing that, over the times I've watched Spectre Dawn, he's good at dealing with an awkward ball, you know, where you've got to get into a sort of dodgy spot to get on it, like he has done with the 3 ball. You know, the 3, you could easily have left the cue ball in the middle of the table to try and play a 3-8 combo, but Spectre Dawn's not going to do that when he's got all that room to manoeuvre. He's going to try and find his way into that spot. And he does that more often than not. And this will just be a roll through. He's 2 straight in the 5. Now, he might just leave himself long in the 7 as well, because again, he's got himself close to the rail. So just a roll through it could be, unless he wants to punch it through. Now, he's just overcooked that. He's actually overdone that by quite a margin. He should have finished sort of there. He's overhit that by 10 inches, and now it's a blind cut. and just got to watch the cue ball where it wants to go. He's digging down because he wants to make sure he holds the cue ball away from the side pocket, and that's a panic over, and it will be a 5-2 lead. And I might get to bed before 10 p.m. Well, the break is right. The table is very good, but the first pot for Bankster isn't. But he's got to take this on. He's got to go for the bank into the side. This time he's nailed it. How's his luck with the two ball? Not good. Now, he can try and spin this cue ball over behind the 3 and 4 here, but he's gone the other way trying to duck behind the 7. That's tricky. And he's actually, well, does Spectrodon want to have a pop at this? He might want to have a go at the 2-9 combo here. He most certainly is having a go at it. And that's how you do it, folks. Well, I think that Bankster there, to me, the probably easier to control shot was playing the thin edge. What ball was it that was there? Playing the thin edge off it with a bit of right English to try and check the ball across behind one of these two balls this side. Okay, you weren't expecting to leave a 2-9 combo, but it was touchy to try and get cover behind that 4 ball, the shot that he played, and he left the shot available so that Spectrodon could see the 2, and the rest is history, and then suddenly it's 6-2. But meanwhile, Spectrodon is scratched on the break. Bankster comes to the table, ball in hand. 2 and 3 shouldn't be a problem. The problem is the 4. Now, the 4 does go past the 6. Now, does he just drop down and stay above the 4 into the side? Yes, he does. Now, this angle means that if you just let the cue ball do what it wants to do, the 4's going into the side and you're coming down for the 5 into the side. Now he's digging in and trying to do stuff with the cue ball here. I think he should have just let that run out. If he'd let it run out. See, now he's out of line, and now he's got to watch where he runs into with the cue ball here. He's avoided the 8. He's got it out in the 6, and all is good. Well, Bankster needs things to go his way now at this stage on the break if he wants to actually try and stay in touch here. So he could do with a nice break and a ball and a shot. Well, he's got the nice break part of it. Oh, the ball has gone in just at the last breath. The ball has gone in. What ball went in? The 2's gone again. But unfortunately, no joy in the 1. Well, he's played that to the wide open side here, and if he didn't get the cue ball in cover, he was always going to leave some sort of shot in the 1. So this is right in the pocket, this 1 ball. And look at where the 3's sitting. Oh, that's a lovely little nudge. Perfect little nudge on the 3. Is the replay working? I don't think it is. No. I've either not got it set up in this presentation or I forgot to do it, but it certainly ain't working. Yeah, well, that was a little close to the 4 ball there for Spectrodon. Didn't read it, and he's given Bankster a chance. Only needs the 4, 5, and 6. Remember. Well, there's a break for Bankster there. Spectre Dawn did the hard work getting onto that 3 ball, left it tight onto the 4. And Spectre Dawn's mistake has given Bankster an easy out to his money ball, and he's back to within 2. He's got to get this break working for himself. I think he's dry this time. Unfortunately for Bankster, he's left a shot in the 1. Yes, this is tonight's final. Now, you're going to have to remind me who that is. Who's No Doubt Aboutable? Who the hell is that again? Well, this is the toughest shot in the rack here, getting back onto this 6 ball, because it's so easy to overcook it and finish below the 6 ball like this. See, this is right in no man's land territory, but he's got the pot into the side. I mean, this isn't all that difficult. He's actually overhit it far enough that he's left a reasonably comfortable pot into the side pocket here for a player like Spectre Dawn. Well, he doesn't want to land on top of the 8 ball. He just fell short of it. So Spectre Dawn's going to have that 3 rack gap again, provided he cuts this 9 in. And Bankster running out of racks. The ball has gone in. Oh, he's going to... I don't know whether that 4 ball's interfered. I think it is. Yes, it's definitely interfering. Can he squeeze that down the rail and cheat the pocket a wee bit here? I don't know. It's touch and go, whether he might be able to just miss the 4 on the cut and cheat the pocket with a dead weight cut here. This is tricky. He's having a good look at it, because I think, like me, he thinks it will go. Yeah, that's perfect. That's a beautiful shot. Very well done. Now it's all about judging the pace in the cue ball to get out and up for this 3. Has he come out far enough? Well, far enough. The only thing is the angle again with the cue ball wants to go will interfere with this 7 and 4. He wants to get a clean shot in the 4. He might be checking this up. I think he's got left English on it to check the rail to try and avoid a collision, which he has done. Now, this is just a stud in to go across for the 5. I mean, you can go forward, but he's decided to take the second option. And again, he's finished straight. So this is just about controlling the pace with the draw. And everything wide open. And Baxter might not be getting back to the table in this match, because Spectre Dawn is about to be on the hill and breaking for the match. Well, just before we go, just a reminder that at the moment there is one match scheduled on the cribbage, or in the cribbage Virtual World Championships. It's the one lost side match with Spectre Dawn up against Silent But Deadly, and that is scheduled for Monday evening at 8 o'clock. Oh dear, Spectre Dawn's did the old mouse fart safety break and given Baxter ball in hand. Yeah, that match is at 8 o'clock British summertime Monday night on the one lost side. Race to 11. I'll be streaming that live. Maybe Steve will join, I don't know. Spectre Dawn decides just to get things opened up. And it's given Baxter, in fact, he never hit the low ball, so it's given Baxter ball in hand again. The difficulty for Baxter is where the 6 ball's sitting, so he's deciding to duck for cover. Looking to try and get 3 fouls out of this, but that's not going to get it. That was a tight one to try into the side pocket. Spectre Dawn trying to go for the kill. So this is like last chance saloon here. One of a few last chance saloons that Baxter requires to try and survive in this match. But he's got his first opportunity, but this is destined to fail, bearing in mind where that 6 ball is. Now, if you end up, first of all, he's got to get down on the 4 and not overhit this, because he could hook himself. In fact, he's actually left it way, way short. Now he's hampered over the 5. That was not a good shot there, Baxter. You know fine well you should have been down there at least. To leave it there was not good. Now, how does he get this cue ball down to here where he could possibly play a 6-9 combo or a billiard? One of the two. Well, it looks as if he's going to be ducking for cover here. Is he going to play the thin edge onto the 8? That's fraught with danger if he's doing that. Yes, the 8 ball actually, well, he tried the bank. Well, Spectre Dawn is going to have to get right into this cue ball, and I don't know that with the angle that he has here, whether he can get into it enough to actually avoid collisions here, or is he going to just ride his luck? Because even if he just plays it to go to the rail, it still looks as if it wants to run into the 8 ball to me. Well, he's checking up again, left English to try and avoid that, and he has done. And it's game, set, and match. Or is it? Yes, it is, because the 8 ball cleanly goes past the 9. And it is yet another one of many Friday night 9 ball titles to Spectre Dawn. Well, you could get a bus past that 9 ball, loads of room. And so at just gone 10 p.m, so a 2-hour tournament this week. I think there was 8 in out of a possible 16 spots. Spectre Dawn is the winner again, by 9 racks to 4. Well, that's it, folks. Hopefully can see you around on Monday evening. But until then, I am going to bid you good night and take care. And we'll see you again soon. See you later, folks.